Hey guys, Nate with Zbroz Racing. Today we are going to go over and do an installation on a Polaris AXYS front bumper. This bumper is amazing. It's very lightweight. It's built out of aluminum. It's all TIG welded, and it includes the front bash plate, which is already attached, and a lower UHMW skid plate, and then all of the rivets that you'll need to complete the job. So again, lightweight, full coverage, fits all AXYS models, so that would be 2016 through 2020. Comes in multiple colors. This one happens to be the KHAOS blue, but we have them in red, white, black, pretty much you name it. We've got the color that'll match your sled. So let's jump into this and go over how easy this is to install. All right, so we have this up on a lift, so it's a little bit easier for you to see, but you can do it with the sled on the ground and then flip it on its side to do the under area when we rivet this stuff on. We'll get to that, but first step, just remove your side panels and your hood and get those out of the way. Polaris making these changes to this hood so that you can take them off versus the Pro is a really nice feature. Set those out of the way. Undo your two little Zeus fasteners, and then undo your main wiring harness to get your hood off. I'm going to set this up here out of our way. All right, and then you can do all this without removing the pipe. You do have to have a spring puller, so let's jump over here and go over the tools that we have to have. So over here, I've got a drill for our rivets with a 3/16 drill bit ready to go, a spring puller so we can pull that upper spring, T40 Torx to remove the two little Torx bolts that hold the factory bumper on, and then a 10mm socket and wrench, and then our rivet gun. So really that's all you should need to do this job. So let's jump back over here to the sled and pull this pipe spring out of the way. Hang on to that. And then right here is where the T40, right here on the nose of the sled, there's some T40 Torx. You want to remove those first, and then the 10mm stuff is back here. And I actually have a socket and a wrench, and if you take the pipe off, that works best, but I'm actually just going to grab another 10mm wrench and just do it all with wrenches. So this will need to slide off. So you pull your little handy dandy Torx tool, and this will actually fit. So if you don't have a T40, you can use the wrench supplied here. You'll have to have some kind of a screwdriver to slide through there to create some torque, but then pop this off, and this will all go back on the new bumper. So we have that question a lot, whether or not this will fit the new bumper, and it does. So I'm going to grab this Torx and just get these out of the way. And like I said, if you want to remove the pipe to have a little bit more working room, you can, but a lot of times everybody's just all about getting it on and getting back out riding, so you can leave this on and work around it. Having an extension right there would be nice on that T40. Now that I got it loose, I'm actually going to grab this Polaris tool. And you'll reuse these, so hang on to these Torx. Okay, now I'm going to grab my 10mm end wrench, and I've got just a little quarter drive ratchet here, and pull this front bolt out. Okay. Hang on to that and we'll put that back in before we put our bumper on. Now I'm going to take a quick pause and go grab my other 10mm end wrench. Okay, so like I said, 2 end wrenches is easiest if you're going to do it while it's on while the pipe's in your way. So 2 10mm. This one's a ratchet wrench, so got to turn it the right way though. And all this hardware will get reused. So, and kind of pay attention. The one thing that I know sometimes is how this little bracket goes. It's got this little triangular stopper that faces to the outside of the sled, and so when you set that to the side, just remember how that goes. In the instruction sheet, it will show a photo of that. And then drop the bolt down by your exhaust. Okay. And then this other side has your ground, so be careful with the ground. Obviously you don't want to damage that because that's grounding your ECU and everything like that, so that'll all go back on. See if I can not drop some more parts. Okay, set your ground out of the way, but remember you've got to hook that back up. Okay, I don't know if you saw that, but the bumper just slides straight forward out of the way, and you can throw this away or put this on your lawnmower or something. All right, so one step that has already been done on this one is this plate has been riveted, so it's going to take 4 rivets, 2 on either side, and it's as far as your rivet lengths, it's the shortest of your rivet lengths with the large head. So make sure you put those in. Obviously, the logo here is going to show you which way's up or down with this when you rivet this on. So make sure you pay attention to that. Skid plate goes down. Then you're just going to simply slide it in just like you would the stock bumper. There's these little plastic guides, and you'll know that you're in correctly when these forward 2 Torx holes line up. So if you can see right here, we can grab those Torx and just kind of hand start them and maybe go in a half dozen threads. That way the bumper will get held in the correct spot and it won't fall off on you. So, I don't know if you can see that, but that hole is kind of your gauge for lining everything up. Grab your Polaris wrench and spin these in a little ways. And it's a tapered bolt, meaning it's got a point to it, so it's going to create its own threads as you screw it in. Self-tapping, I guess, would be the correct word. So it's going to be snug from the beginning all the way in. So again, just go till they're snug. You don't need to go all the way tight because you'll want to be able to have a little bit of adjustment so that you can line up your main bolts. I'm just gonna go into there. I'm gonna grab my bumper bolt over here. And while I left that loose, you can kind of slide this back and forth, but again, reuse your factory bolt here. I don't know if you can see that good, but just kind of have to pull on the bumper a little bit to get that to line up. Install your spring clip, and then your nylock nut, and then you'll need your 10mm wrenches to tighten this back up. It really is a pretty easy bumper to install. I don't think any of them are really hard. Snug that up. If you want, you can hook up your pipe spring now while you're on this side. Like so. Let's go to this other side. Again, don't forget your ground. You don't want to put that on. Kind of have to pull on the bumper a little bit to get this to line up. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this side up. Okay, now we're going to grab our bolt that we pulled out of this nose piece and hook it up while we've got our 10mm stuff out, and that's just going to feed through this triangle right here and go into the aluminum brace that's up front. So again, 10mm ratchet and a wrench, or 2 wrenches, however. Snug that up. All right. Okay. Now we're going to want to get our drill with the 3/16 drill bit and drill these two side rivets. And in the little baggie of your parts, there's going to be some flat washers. These 4 flat washers go in that location. So the medium length rivets, separate these out quick. Put all the long ones over here. So you're going to need 4 of these and 4 washers. Let's go on. All right, so we threw the sled on its side so we can get to these bottom rivets, and there is these two nose cone or nose piece rivets that you have to drill out. So if you think you can do that before or after, I'm gonna go down through this to push that one out. Make sure they're out all the way. And as you can see, that's just going to line up with those two. So I'm going to grab this plate, and then two of the longest rivets that are in there. There's like 4 of them, and then you're going to lay this on here. And if you look, it lines up with some existing rivets. So that rivet, and then these 2 rivets need to be removed. Okay. Now the plastic piece is going to go between the stock plastic and the aluminum of the bumper with a long rivet. Looks like this hole is a little bit snug. No, it's just me. Need a rivet gun. And you can start at the front with these 2 long ones. Make sure you get it in all the way and push hard so that it smashes everything together. Really, once you get that in, it's pretty easy from there. It'll hold everything in place for you. Okay, and then you can put 4 of the long rivets. These here, they're just slightly longer than the other ones, so you can get all the way through the bulkhead. Now, we really like running these little UHMW skid plates because it just gives you that extra protection when you have a rock strike. It's gonna slide off the plastic a lot better than your billet or the cast bulkhead, excuse me. And then hopefully not break your bulkhead like I've seen done a lot when you have a really bad rock hit. Now there's 4 more rivets right here that it's optional if you want to put them in. We include them in the kit and you can drill those out, but really 90% of the time we usually don't put those rivets in because your factory rivets are held to your cooler. But we do supply 4 more rivets. If you want to drill out those stock steel rivets, you can, but this is obviously held on there plenty good and you won't have to worry about anything back there. But if you have issues, you know, where you're riding in a lot of dirt and stuff like that, you might get some up behind it, and you can drill those out and add those rivets. On this particular installation, we're going to leave those off and just run it like you see here. But that's all there is to putting this bumper on. It really is very simple. Flip it back up, make sure your little rivet pieces come out the side panel when you flip it back on its skis, so there's nothing rattling around in there, because there is the ends of your rivets that you drilled out here, and then if you drill these 4 out, that'll be inside the body. But other than that, you're good to go. Put it back on its skis and go run some trees over and enjoy the backcountry and snowmobiling, which is why we do all of this, is to get into the backcountry and have fun and come back safe and enjoy each other's company and Mother Nature.
Careful with the word backcountry. You know it's trademarked, right?
Oh, really?